My name is Joanie. This presentation will provide you with 3 strategies to increase cognitive abilities. Brain research is not complete. However, scientists have concluded that the brain is mutable. Research shows that intelligence can be developed, and scientists have determined that factors such as environment, socioeconomic status, nutrition, and stimuli of the modern society play a part in developing IQ. However, the most significant impact is that IQ increases with each new task. This presentation is about strategies that parents, students, and educators can use to develop and improve a student's cognitive abilities. Strategy 1, build a growth mindset. Strategy 2, deliberate practicing or practicing like an expert. Strategy 3, use mnemonic devices or memory cues. Upon completion of this presentation, participants will be able to provide examples of growth and fixed mindsets, describe the concept of deliberate practicing, and explain what memory cues are. Strategy 1. Learn to use the growth mindset. The empirical research of Dr. Carol Dweck has determined that mindset is a result of the way a child is praised and how the child deals with failure. Children who are praised for their efforts, strategies, and hard work feel confident and in control and are said to have what Dr. Dweck calls a growth mindset. These children learn that their intelligence is in their control and as a result become more aggressive learners and higher achievers. When faced with failure, they learn not to give up, but to work harder to find the correct solution. According to Dr. Dweck, failure gives us the opportunity to discover what we're capable of. On the other hand, children who are praised only for their natural intellectual abilities and talents have what Dr. Dweck calls a fixed mindset. This stifles the child's learning abilities. These children do not have the opportunity to learn to deal with failure. Thus, they become frustrated and give up when faced with difficult problems. I wish I had this information when my children were growing up. My son is extremely bright. He could read on his own by age 4. He found school boring and really never had to study until he got to college. Of course, he got a full ride scholarship to college based on his academic record, but in his first semester, he started having problems. He got frustrated and eventually dropped out of college. All throughout his life, he had been praised for being so smart. On the other hand, my daughter really struggled in school. In elementary and middle school, she was on an IEP for reading. She had to work so much harder than her brother. Today, my daughter has just graduated with her master's degree, and her older brother is back in school working to complete his bachelor's degree. Strategy 2, practice like an expert. Another strategy to increase cognitive ability is deliberate practicing, also called practicing like an expert. Practicing like an expert is not the same as repeating a task over and over again. According to psychologist Anders Ericsson, practicing like an expert is goal-driven and involves striving to go beyond the current level of performance. Expert performance is based on the amount and type of practice the person has. Continually willing to repeat the process of striving, failing, problem solving, then striving, failing, and so forth mark the process of deliberate practicing. It is often not enjoyable and for many requires a coach or trainer. Becoming an expert is not limited to naturally gifted people, but to those who have the motivation and discipline to practice. Strategy number 3, use mnemonic devices. Memory strategies or mnemonic devices hold a common structure of some kind that can easily be linked to the target information that we want to remember. Many years ago, when I was about 10 years old, my mother signed me and my sister up for accordion lessons. Neither of us has started a polka band or even continued to play beyond the initial lessons. But the one thing that I remember all these years later is EGBDF. Every good boy does find the musical notes. Mnemonic devices can help us learn large amounts of information and with continued retrieval can become second nature and encoded in our subconscious. Rhyme schemes also serve as mnemonic tools, creating sing-songy melodies. The PEG method is a rhyme scheme used for remembering lists. Each number 1 through 20 is associated with an image. An example: 1 is run, 2 is blue, 3 is tree, 4 is chore, and so on. This method uses the rhyming images as pegs to hang items that you want to remember on. So if you are running errands, you can remember that you need to 1. Run, buy running shoes, 2. Blue, go get your blue dress from the cleaners, and so on. Have you ever lost your keys or your phone and found it by retracing your steps? You start by remembering where you last had your keys. Then you close your eyes and mentally picture what you did next and where you were at that time until you find your keys. Using mental images to recall information is called memory palace, or the method of loci. This method can be used for any type of recall, but is especially helpful for students studying for tests. The student selects the key ideas of the testing material, then chooses a site for their memory palace. The site must be someplace very familiar, such as home, school, etc. Finally, they mentally assign images with objects they would see walking through their chosen memory palace. At exam time, the student simply takes a mental walk through their palace and recalls the material from their mental images. Example: if I were to take a test on the periodic table of elements and choose to use my home as my memory palace, I might start by turning off the hose outside my front door. Hydrogen, water forming. Then, as I enter into my living room, I imagine the room filled with balloons, helium. And next, the Energizer Bunny runs across the floor playing his symbols, lithium, etc. Associating vivid images makes the material easier to retrieve from memory. Whether you are a teacher, parent, or student, it is important to know that effortful learning changes the brain. Implementing the 3 strategies: number 1, use a growth mindset; number 2, deliberate practicing; and number 3, use mnemonic devices, will help to strengthen cognitive abilities. In summary, research shows that the mindset can be changed. We can help students achieve more by conscientiously praising them for their efforts and strategies and not for their natural abilities. We can encourage students who are struggling to work hard to find the correct solution and to practice like an expert. Teaching students memory cues and mnemonic devices will help them retain information. Here are the resources that I used to put together this presentation. Thank you for your attention.